Imagine, if you will, it's March of 2020, and you just got word that the company you work for wants you to work from home because of some weird disease going around. It's a bit awkward at first, and your company doesn't really have the infrastructure for it, but after a few months, you realize, holy shit, I get to save money on gas, spend more time with my family, and be able to work from the comfort of my own home instead of some gray, boring, cramped, loud office. This is awesome! Jump cut to mid-2022, and suddenly, like that one desperate ex of yours, your job wants you back. And they're better this time. They promise. They have unlimited coffee, and snacks, and free meals. Just please come back. They miss you. You are so good together. And much like that one desperate ex of yours, they're going to enact their will on you if you like it or not. RTO, or Return to Office, is the next event in the wonderful world of corporations wanting to ruin everything for literally no reason. Because why take advantage of all the innovations that Microsoft, Slack, Zoom, and hell, even Discord did during the pandemic to better cater to remote work and schooling when you can simply gaslight your employees by throwing fake statistics at them about how less productive they are when they work from home? Hell, they've even moved past that now. Gaslighting and lying are unnecessary. They're a thing of the past. Why even bother lying to your employees when you can just force them back into the office anyway, even if you don't have the space for them? According to a recent article written by Business Insider, a leaked internal memo from AT&T revealed that, even though they firmly admit that they don't have enough space for everyone, AT&T workers will be required to return to the office anyway. This is how mask off these assholes are about it. The memo states, and I quote, "We will not offer one-to-one seating per employee." An employee mentioned in the article stated they have around 1,200 workers assigned to return to the office building they work in, and only about 150 desks, forcing people to work in the cafeteria or even on the floor. And mind you, the return to office mandate hasn't even gone into effect yet. Not to mention issues with parking and other amenities. I'll link the article in the description, which includes the full AT&T memo, but this is exactly my point about RTO mandates. If you look at it objectively, it makes no sense. There is so much data that proves that giving workers the option to work from home increases their overall quality of life and willingness to work. For the sake of argument, let's say it's true that the average employee does do less work from home. Who freaking cares? Humans are more than stats on a spreadsheet. Many of these companies, AT&T included, have quoted the increased ability to, quote, collaborate, end quote, as the reason their employees must return to the office. Which is hilarious because, at least in my own personal experience, these places actively discourage collaboration. I've worked customer support for 3 different companies, and in each one, we were actively prohibited from speaking with those in higher tiers of support. A quick rundown of how support usually works. There are tiers of support, typically 3, and each tier of support deals with more complex issues. Every company I have ever worked for makes you jump through several hoops to escalate things to a higher tier of support, typically requiring extensive paperwork, several internal tickets, and at least one manager's approval to escalate anything, even tasks that only the higher tiers of support are able to do in the first place. Why, you may ask? Because escalations make a company look bad. When Tier 1 support is constantly escalating issues to Tier 2 or Tier 3, that signals deeper flaws in the services the company is offering. So the best way to prevent this from happening, obviously, isn't to improve the services the company offers. No. The answer is to simply force the poor bastards making on average $15 an hour and doing about 15 times the work to do even more work just to get a request that only Tier 2 can do up to Tier 2. So collaboration clearly isn't the goal here. And I've seen people theorize that it's about control and being able to more easily monitor your employees. But companies already have plenty of software on your work laptops and computers to monitor everything you are doing at all times. So I don't think this is true either. So why are these rich C-level executive assholes so hell-bent on ruining a good thing? Especially when companies could save millions on rent if they stopped giving a shit about these stupid, ugly office buildings. Well, that's easy. It's about money. When researching this topic to find any resemblance of a real motive behind RTO, I found that a majority of the companies forcing their employees back to the office had signed long-term and expensive contracts before the pandemic to reserve that office space. A lot of these contracts end in a few years. From what I could find, they all end around 2026 or 2028. And thankfully, many of these companies don't seem to plan on renewing these contracts when they expire. But until then, you get to observe a multi-billion-dollar sunk cost fallacy unfold as top-level executives all across the country force you out of your homes and back to the office. That's right, scamp. You aren't allowed to work from home for the next few years, maybe. All because some rich dickhead spent way too much money on office buildings 5 or 6 years ago, and despite the money already being spent, they don't want to feel like they wasted it. So you have to go back to spending your days stuck in rush hour traffic and typing away in your gray-white office space instead of at home or with your family. But hey, your sacrifice is making the multimillionaires who lead your company feel a little bit better about their investments. How comforting. Here is a crazy idea. Let the people who want to stay home, and vice versa. Give the option to the employees on how they want to work. As someone who likes social interaction and building personal bonds with my coworkers, I would never force my colleagues to come into the office just to fill my needs for social interaction, or make me feel better about spending millions on office space that nobody wants, needs, or asked for. And speaking as someone who is currently sick because of my coworkers coming into the office while sick, it would do wonders for public health if those who are sick or otherwise unwell were not forced to use a limited pool of paid sick time for everything from minor colds to major viruses. I'm not saying everyone should have unlimited paid sick time, but allowing people with minor illnesses to still work from home and not risk spreading their sickness to quite literally all of their coworkers should be a given. You would think we had learned this after what happened during COVID, but I guess not. Paid sick time should be something you have to use when you are so sick you cannot possibly physically do your job, not for minor illnesses. In my experience, most people use their paid sick time to stay home when they have a minor illness and care enough to not want to spread it to others. The system we have in place currently actively punishes those who actually care about public health and rewards those who come in sick and sneeze all over their colleagues. But hey, I guess when we all have the flu because Johnny from accounting wasn't allowed to work from home for no good reason, we will all be able to collaborate more. From the hospital.